And I'd like you to start by taking 3 big belly breaths. So notice at first your breath will be shallow and in the chest, and it takes about 3 breaths just to pull yourself down into the tummy. And they don't need to be rushed, so take your time. You know, and even if you're not doing your yoga practice daily, if you can start your day off with your cup of tea and take about 90 seconds to breathe into your tummy, your entire day and the way you feel in your day will be different. So you don't need a full hour of anything. Shortcuts are great. I love them. And very often we're starting our day off already 5 steps ahead of ourselves. And so it's really important to just come deep into our body and start from here, right now. And continue to breathe down into your tummy, but make a conscious effort to slow your breath down now. And just see how full you can get your belly, but with no rush to get it full. So you do have to concentrate and be present for that. And know that any anxiety or feelings that come up from slowing down the breath, they're in your mind. The mind is like, hey, but I was in charge. And now it's not. So just breathe through any discomfort. And in our practice, by giving ourselves, whether it's 90 seconds of breathing a day or a full yoga practice, we are taking the power away from the brain and the thinking mind and coming into our awareness and our presence. And that way we become the master of the mind. We get to use it as it should be used, as a tool for intellect and language. But it should not be the one in charge. Yeah. And seeing how slow and long and deep you can get that breath now. Maybe just gently, very gently turning the corners of your lips up. Barely a millimeter. And what I'm noticing with this new part of our meditations is, at first I didn't want my lips up. I had a very seriousness to my practice, to my breathing. But over the last few weeks, I've noticed that I'm really lightening up how I feel about my practice. And so again, when we first turn those corners up, maybe it feels false or like we are uncomfortable with that. But if you be more subtle and just feel into the experience of turning the corners of the mouth up and letting the face and the forehead lighten, Eventually it integrates and we start to naturally feel lighter in ourselves. You know, the body can't tell the difference. If the corners of the lips are up, the mind automatically thinks everything's a little lighter and easier. Any tension in the back of the head, the neck and the shoulders, just let it slide off down the back into the belly. And continue to breathe into your tummy. And we're just going to keep it really natural here. So we'll take another minute in silence and then I'll ring the bell. And if you feel the mind is chatty, you just anchor yourself into either your hands or your feet. And always back to the breath. Now see if you can take these final 3 breaths as we started. So a little bit of effort, a little bit of exaggeration of pulling that prana into your tummy. And any kind of exhalation, ujjayi sound, or maybe a sigh out of the mouth. Nice. And if you were lying back, give your arms and legs a big stretch. And come up into your seat. And some of you guys were sitting upright already, so that's where we will be now. And again, take your time. If you're already up in your seat, just stay centered for a few more breaths while we wait for everybody to come up. Oh, good morning. That looks beautiful, Sylvie. I'm a bit jealous of where you are. Nice, guys. And then from here, let's inhale and lift our arms up towards the ceiling. And exhale. Bring your hands into your heart, your chin to your chest. And we'll take 5 breaths here to center ourselves deep within our heart space and deep within our own body. And in this position, we're bowing our head, our mind, to our heart. Nice, guys. One last breath here. Exhale. And then inhale, lift the arms up. And just drop your right hand down and stretch through the left side body. And you don't have to come too deep, so long as you can feel that stretch. And take another breath. And then inhale, just lifting back up to the ceiling and over to the opposite side. And inhale, lifting your arms back up. Bring your hands behind you now. Bring your fingertips forward and we'll come up into a little tabletop here. So pushing into your hands. You can turn your fingers out to the side. Actually, that's more supportive for my wrist. My left wrist is a little sore today. Just coming up as high as you can. We're going to take 5 breaths here. One more breath. And then lower your bottom down. Keep your arms where they are and just have a little bend into your elbows there and keep stretching across your shoulders and the front of your chest. Nice. Now lifting up and extending the legs long, and we'll come into a Paschimottanasana, a little forward fold just to stretch ourselves out. Especially it being a little colder, it's important to stretch before and at the end of our practice. So you're probably quite stiff, I am, so just come down super gently, resting on your shins or grabbing your feet and bringing your chin to your chest. And feeling in between your shoulder blades as you breathe, letting that area open and soften and just letting your belly kind of hang on your thighs there. And we're going to stay in this for another 30 seconds, so about 5 of those big tummy breaths. One last breath, you guys. Nice, and then start to lift yourself back up. We're going to bring our right knee out to the right and the right foot onto the inner thigh. So still slow warm up. Saturday Hatha class. Nice. And then I want you to lift your arms up nice and tall and twist yourself over to your left, so over your left leg. So you do have to use your core muscles there, and you'll roll forward onto your sit bones. So my perineum, my sort of those bony bits, are kind of pushing against the floor, and turn that into a little bit of a twist. So left hand is behind, right hand is over that left thigh. My right knee is pulling down, so I'm stretching through my right adductor as well. Lift your chest up nice and tall. Nice. And on your next in-breath, lift your arms back up to the ceiling. And then we're going to lean over our left leg now. So Janu Shishasana. And this really, I can feel that deep in my right lower back, right hip. One more breath. And then we're going to inhale, lift our arms back up to the ceiling and bring your right hand behind you. And then come up onto your right shin and turn that into a supported back bend. So I've got my right knee forward. Shine your hips forward. Extend your left fingers up and over as high as you can. And heart is lifted. 5 breaths here. It's a nice big one to wake us up. Nice. And then we're going to lower back down onto our bottom. And we're going to change our legs over. So the right leg goes long now, left foot onto the inner thigh. Rolling, tilting slightly forward with the hips. Lift your arms up nice and tall. Bring your right hand behind, left hand just rests over that right thigh. And peel your right shoulder back as you lift your heart and lengthen your spine. Nice. And then inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale over your right leg. One more breath here, guys. And inhale, lift up. Left arm comes all the way behind. We lift up onto that left shin. Really shine your hips, lengthen your spine, and big back bend. Open your heart. Point your right toes and that right leg straight. Now see if you're rushing your breath. Try not to rush any part of your breath. One more breath. Then exhale, coming back down onto your bottom. Beautiful. Now let's bring our legs in and bring the soles of our feet together. We'll come into Baddha Konasana here. So grabbing your hands around your feet and just give your knees a little butterfly like that. Yeah. Just to warm them up. And then I'm going to kind of wriggle my butt back so I'm rolling forward on my sit bones. And then lengthen your spine forward. And bring your elbows out on the outer edges of your shins and come down into that big back bend, big hip opener. So you can make it stronger by purposely pulling the knees down to the floor. So that resistance is going to open you up even more. Chin towards your chest, 5 breaths here. Nice, guys. Let's finish this breath. And then start to come up. Bring your knees in together. And give your knees a little squeeze. Into a little bliss ball. And from here, we're going to come up into a boat pose, our Navasana. So you might keep your legs on the ground like this. This is still the same activation that we're looking for. Or legs up, or legs straight. And we'll take 5 breaths here. Nice. And then we're going to cross our ankles over and roll over. Beautiful. Tuck your toes under and let's come up into our downward facing dog. And we'll take 5 breaths in down dog, making sure it's not too long. If you feel that there's too much pressure on your wrists, maybe walk your feet in a tiny bit. And you can check the stance of your dog by rolling forward to plank. And once you roll forward to plank, if you have to change the position too much of your hands and feet, you might be too short, too long. Maybe, about a 2-inch variable is fine. And then push back, because that's the length of your legs and spine. So your body is the perfect measuring stick for your positions. Now see if you can push your heart a little closer to your thighs. Nice, let's take 3 more breaths. And come up nice and high onto your tippy toes now. Drop down onto your knees. Drop down into a child's pose. That's it. Bring your hands behind your lower back with the palms facing up. Now, so we're going to get the energy pumping a little bit with this next move. So from here, we're going to inhale, lift our hips, lift our arms. Shining hips forward, using your tummy. Back bend as much as you can. Exhale, come back into your child's pose, ground down, hands behind your back. Inhale, lift up. You can utilize your thumbs to help support the back bend. Exhale, hands behind. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hands behind. 2 more. Inhale. If I'm going too fast, you just slow it down and do less. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Let's take a little breath for 3. Relax your hands down by your feet. Nice. And we're going to inhale, come back up onto our shins. Nice, guys. And we're going to step our left foot out to the side now. So left leg goes directly out. We're going to shine our hips slightly forward so we're not dropping back into our bum. Lift both arms up to the ceiling and slide your left hand down that left thigh as deep as you can without rolling your shoulder over. So it's all about that stretch through your right side body. Now bring some presence, some awareness into your right fingertips. Nice. And then stretching your arm all the way over to the right, drop it down to the floor and extend your left fingers now. Option is to stay right here for 5 breaths, or some of you will be able to pick that left foot up and turn that into a half bow pose. So choose what's best for you this morning. If you're in the bow, release and stretch back to where everybody else is, and then we'll roll that left hand back around to the front of the mat. Bring that left shin in. While we're on all fours, let's roll through 3 cat-cows. So lifting our hearts forward, pushing back, lifting forward, pushing back. One more inhale. And exhale. Let's lift up onto our shins and do that stretch through the right side body. So right leg goes long, left side body, but right leg. So hips forward, left arm extends to the ceiling and sliding down that leg. Now let's take one more breath. And then inhale, coming up, bringing your left hand up. So it's not directly underneath your shoulder, otherwise you'll kind of crush into that shoulder blade. And stretching your right fingers over first. And then if you want to grab the foot for the next 5 breaths, making that choice. Nice, release, stretch, one more stretch here. And then roll your right hands around. Walk yourself back into the middle of the mat. Drop down onto your heels and take 3 breaths in child's pose. Nice. And then inhale, let's lift up and come into downward facing dog. Let's extend our right leg towards the back wall. And then peel your hip open, bend the knee. Bring your right foot to the top of your mat. Drop onto your left knee. Inhale, come up into your low lunge. That's it. Bring your hands together into a prayer and bring them behind your head as you pull your left hip forward. Nice, guys. Take 3 more breaths here. You can close your eyes at any time. And then let's bring our hands down either side of your front foot. You might need support with a chair next to you. And we're going to straighten out our front leg and come into baby Hanuman. So lifting your heart forward and stretching into the back of your right leg. And then bend into your front knee again. Keep your left hand on the inside of your right foot. Plant the hand down. Twist your right arm up into a twist. And then if you want to, tuck your left toes and lift the back knee off into a twisted lunge now. Nice, we'll get this one really correct here. So it's like a long line from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Pull your pelvic floor up, but then tuck in your lower tummy and twist your belly button slightly to the left as you twist the top part of your torso more to the right. And you can kind of create a few little pulses of your pelvic floor as you're in that twist. Nice, so strengthening all those tiny little connective muscles through the vertebra and through those bandhas. And you'll notice it gives you a little energy lift when you do that, when you contain your energy in your body. That goes not just with the lower sort of orifices, it also goes with the upper ones too, how much we talk when we don't need to talk, what we expel out of our eyes. So containing and preserving your energy. Nice. Let's lower our right hand down. If you're on the back knee, come off the back knee and push back into downward facing dog. Nice. Let's come forward to a plank. You can drop onto your knees straight away if you want. And we're going to make this plank really quite strong here. So I want you to kind of pull your wrist towards your feet and your feet towards your wrist. So you're compacting the tummy muscles. At the same time, lean your heart towards the top of the mat and keep your spine nice and long, and then strengthen up those legs a little bit there. That's it. Now squeeze up those muscles through your pelvic floor. Again, you might be on your knees the whole time. Rounding through your upper back a little. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now drop onto your knees. Drop your chest to the floor and slide through for Bhujangasana. So, coming into our little baby cobra back bend. Hands are pretty much at the point they should be. So fingertips in line with the nipples, elbows behind. Pushing your pubic bone into the floor and lengthen your spine forward. And then lower down with your forehead towards the floor, stretch the back of your neck. Relax your bum. Nice, let's come up again, inhale. Working from the core first, lifting up. Now lift your legs off the mat and bring your feet together if you can. Lift your fingers off, pull your elbows back. 5 breaths. And lower back down, forehead again to the floor. So either one of those options, or this time interlace your hands behind the back. Lift your chest up. Pushing pubic bone in, pelvic floor lifts. Try it with your feet and heels together to make it stronger through your inner thighs. 5 breaths. And lower back down. Bring your arms out nice and wide and come up onto the tips of your fingers, so Hasta Bandha. We'll stretch out those shoulders now that the back is prepared. So lifting up as tall as you can. Twisting right shoulder over to left, look behind. Inhale, lift up. Left shoulder to right. Inhale, lift up. Right shoulder to left. Inhale, lift up. Left shoulder to right. Inhale, lift up. Hold as high as you can into that back bend, lifting your heart, opening your throat. Two more breaths. If you're kind of compressing too much into your lumbar spine, you're going too deep for your back. And come back down onto the floor. Extend your left arm out in a straight line. So we'll do all angles of the shoulders today. So just straight in line with the shoulder. Right hand is pretty much where it needs to be. Bring it under your shoulder a little closer. And just 3 breaths, stretching out the front of our shoulder joint. So flip your right side off the mat. You can drop your head if you want, but that's not comfortable for my neck. And then roll back onto your tummy. Extend your right arm out, just straight. Left hand under right shoulder, and 3 breaths. Over we go. And come back onto your belly. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Push back into a child's pose. Now lifting your hips, tucking your toes, and come back into down facing dog. Great. Inhale, left leg lifts. Peel your hip open. Bring your left foot to the top of your mat. Drop onto your right knee. Drop into your hips and come into your low lunge. Bring your hand behind your head in a reverse prayer, just to make that a little deeper. In your back foot, your toes can be tucked, or you can have the top of the foot pushing down into the floor. Now see if you can bring your attention into your heart and your forehead as you breathe and expand. Maybe even closing down your eyes for these last couple of breaths and try to keep that centeredness in your body. And then let's release, bring our hands down to the floor, baby Hanuman. You can do full Hanuman if you want. I'm definitely not warm enough for that. So forehead towards your shin, chin to chest. And then planting your foot flat. Bring your right hand now onto the inside and twist your left fingers up. And then option is to tuck the toes and come into the lunge version. So take your back knee off the floor. And now let's get it really nice and specific. So bring all of your focus to the area of your pelvic floor, Uddiyana Bandha, and your belly button. From your tailbone, start to lengthen each vertebra forward and then keep opening up your heart. Now with a contraction through your pelvic floor and your belly button pulled in, I want you to pull your belly button slightly to the right. And feel how much warmth and control you have going on. Now breathe 3 more breaths without your focus leaving those muscles. This last breath, breathe, open your heart and open your arm up even higher. And then let's lower our left hand down, push back into our downward facing dog. Nice. Let's come up to the top of our mat. We're going to lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, fold. Push into your feet, lift your arms all the way up to the ceiling. Little push forward of your hips. And then bring your hands into your heart space. Bring your chin towards your chest and lengthen through your entire spine. Bringing your attention to your feet and to the earth underneath your feet. Feeling that connection there. Bring your attention now to the energy in your hands that are at your heart. Bring your chin towards your chest and breathe deeply into your hands and into your heart space. Still maintaining an awareness of your feet on the earth. We're always deeply connected to life and the earth and each other. The problem is where our attention is. It's kind of not always in the right place. Let's take another breath here. Inhale, lift your arms all the way up to the ceiling. And exhale, fold forward. Ooh, wobbly. Let's hang out in our forward fold just for a couple of breaths.
Nice. Inhale, lift up again halfway. Plant your hands down, and we're going to go back to a downward dog, but if you'd like to do a slow, controlled flow, this is your option to do that, to get to dog. If you're just simply stepping back to dog, go nice and slow and stay in dog for a little longer. Beautiful, Sylvie. Beautiful control. Nice. Everybody's back. Dog, there's Premi. And now what I'd like you to do is open your hips up. Open your feet up as wide as your mat, with your toes basically off the mat and your heels in, like a big fat penguin. And walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend into your knees a little bit and roll your spine up. And come up to standing. So we're going to do a little bit of hip movement, a little bit of energy clearing in our sort of lower two chakras here. We're going to come down onto the floor and onto our back. So feet are nice and wide, like this. And bring your hands into a little bit of a, I need to get that back so you can see me. I need a bigger studio soon. Okay. That's not working. Sorry, guys. So feet are nice and wide. Bring your hands into a prayer in front of your heart. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop down into our hips as low as we can. And then we're going to step our right foot over to the right. And then we're going to step over to the right and step our left foot to the right. So we're doing big, wide frog squats. So we're dropping down, stepping, dropping down, stepping. Now as you drop your pelvic floor. As you lift your pelvic floor. So concentrate on that area. We're going to go for another 10. Drop, lift. Spine is nice and tall, heart open. Drop. Only go as deep as your knees feel safe. Lift. 8. Lift. 7. Lift. 6. Lift. 5. Lift. 4. Lift. 3. Lift. 2. Lift. 1. Now I'd like you to hold, we'll finish that because I went a bit too fast. Now come back to another wide stance and we're going to come into our goddess pose. We're going to hold into that pose there. Yeah. And you might even come up onto the balls of your feet and drop your hips down for 5, 4, only as deep as you can, 3, 2, 1. Heels to the floor first, straighten out the legs. Nice work, guys. Inhale, lift your arms up. Bring your hands behind your back. Turn your feet so they're straight. And let's come into a forward fold and stretch that out. Nice. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, start to lift yourself back up. Lift both arms up to the ceiling. And then with the wide leg stance, drop your right hand down your right thigh. So that right thigh has to be quite active. And then inhale, come back up. And then over to the opposite. And then inhale, come back up. And bring your hands into your heart. Bring your hands onto your hips and just jump your feet back in. Nice.
Let's come back up to the top of our mat. Inhale, lift your arms up nice and tall. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Last opportunity for a flow, otherwise just stepping back to down dog. Beautiful, everybody's there. Let's drop onto our knees. Swing your legs around. Plant your feet flat. And roll yourself down onto your backs now. Beautiful, guys. Bring those knees up into your chest for a little squeeze. That's it. And then let's bring the soles of our feet together and let our knees be wide. And then bringing your palms together to create a little wildfire. And then resting your hands on your belly or your heart or wherever it feels right for you. Bringing your chin towards your chest and closing down your eyes and just relaxing into that little back massage and a little bit of self-nurturing. Take a few moments to bring your breath back into your belly. There's certain parts of our yoga practice where we need those connections through our bandhas. But when we do belly breathing, I want you to think of how a baby looks. You know, they have yet to hold on to any thought or tension, and so their tummies poke out naturally. And that's kind of the breath we're looking for. So see if you can let your belly just poke out as if you were a baby. With no pretense and no idea of how it looks, just that level of relaxation and self-acceptance. Baby doesn't yet have an ego mind, so it's not self-conscious of itself. And somewhere in you is that level of being relaxed and being completely unself-conscious, completely natural in yourself. Which is exactly what self-acceptance is, that total acceptance of all of your wonderful traits and all of your apparent imperfections and treating them equally without any judgment or criticism. And what a nice place to be in yourself. And let's take another big relaxed belly breath. Exhale. And then letting your hands slide off, bringing your knees up for another squeeze. Beautiful. Maybe turning that into a little happy baby pose, opening those knees out. Sylvie's already there, grabbing the feet if you can, or just holding the knees and pulling your sacrum down to the floor for a massage. And then bringing your legs together, planting your feet flat. We're choosing either a full wheel if you have the energy, if it's really the desire you have, or just bridge pose. So rolling your hips up, whatever you choose to do, be safe and take 5 clearing out breaths to finish off our practice today. Beautiful. Heart forward, Sylvie, gorgeous. Legs as straight as you can, hips as high as you can too. And then let's come down and we'll finish ourselves off with a twist. We'll do the universal twist today, a little different. Just extending the left leg long, bringing your right foot on top of that knee and twisting yourself over. And then release that, give that right knee a squeeze as you come back to your back, and then just change sides and over you go. And then coming back up, giving that knee a squeeze, both knees a little squeeze. And then resting yourself out into your Shavasana. Making sure you're warm and cozy. And taking your first 3 breaths consciously. So breathing deep into your tummy as much as you can. And then you can even relax that effort after those 3 or 4 breaths. Almost as if you're just floating there, kind of heavy and weightless at the same time. Try not to, really use this time to ask too many questions or go searching. Just letting go is what we're looking for. Just a deep surrender and a deep relaxation. Maybe turning the corners of your lips up less than a millimeter. Super subtle. And if the corners of your lips created inside of your body or your heart a little lightness and a little humor even, I want you to connect deeper with that feeling. And let it expand throughout your body. That feeling of just a sweet, simple joy. Let the sound of the bell just ring through your body, clearing out any energy blocks that you may have shifted throughout your practice. And then take a breath in. Take a breath out. And wriggle your fingers and toes and give your arms and legs a big stretch. Oh, beautiful, guys. Sylvie, I'm so jealous. I'm looking at your picture. I'm so jealous. And let's come up into our seat. I want to be in the bush there. Bring your hands into your heart space. Spine nice and tall, keeping that lightness in your face. Take a breath in through your nostrils. And a breath out. And then bowing forward in honor of each other and ourselves. Namaste. Have a beautiful weekend, guys. Thank you. Bye, Sheree.
Bye. Have a good weekend. Have a nice Sunday. And today too. I forgot we only just started the day.
I feel like it's like 2050 or something. Oh my God.